The EuroV8 Cup makes its first of two consecutive visits to France today at the Circuit de Nogaro in the southwestern portion of the country, a very unique track with a layout consisting of lots of slow technical corners connected by two long straightaways. Taking the pole position after Superpole qualifying is the Scuderia Modena driver of Victoria Dragrider, who is coming off of a podium finish at Silverstone. Car number 5 leads the 26-car field to the green flag, with Callum Morgan starting on the outside of the front row, but it did not take long for trouble to strike. Lewis Walters at the back of the grid pulls across the front of Julian Don and turns himself into the wall before they even make it to the starting line. That was a very odd incident. Both drivers are going to lose a lot of ground right off the bat. And further down the track in turn 2, Victor Ladigan bumps into the back of Bro Andreasen. She gets loose, comes back up the track, and pushes Ladigan across the front of Franz Kimmelig, last week's winner, or last race's winner I should say, sending the 29 car for a spin. Mariana Palazzo, heading into turn 3, cuts off the 7 of Vittorio Amati and nearly causes them to crash. Amati gets by Palazzo, but then she gets spun around by the 50 car of James Burnley. That was one of the Hannigan Quick Fit cars. The 78 car of Tatsa Kornstri Pan's also around, and here comes Julian Don flying into the accident scene and running into the 1 car. Not sure what Don was thinking. It should have been obvious that there was an accident up ahead. Here's what happened to the 78 car. Everybody stacked up as Palazzo spun around down the track, and he gets turned around himself. And once again, here comes the 96 car, really lagging behind because of the Lewis Walters incident, and comes flying into the 1 car quite recklessly. As the field finally begins to calm down towards the end of the lap, Victoria Dragrider has cleared the 2 car by a good margin and has opened several car lengths on him as they head down the Aerodrome straight for the first time, by far the longest straight around the track. But there's an incident at the far end of it. Andreasen gets hit by the 91 of Kimmelig, and then Alessio Fabiani, after trying to go 3 wide, gets turned into the tire wall. The 30 car of Maurizio Menunzo also gets a lot of damage. Here's an aerial shot. Fabiani was in the right side lane, and when Kimmelig moves to the right of Andreasen, they go 3 wide, and either he doesn't realize that's the case, or he just moved too far to the left. Fabiani's going to drop out of the race. Jean-Marc Perrault now going for the 2nd position on Callum Morgan. Morgan is holding him off for the time being, but he forces the 3 car off the track heading into turn 4. Perrault goes into the grass and is going to lose a spot to the 05 of Dean Hillman. His teammate Franco Giovanardi, Perrault's teammate that is, also gets by, and now Hillman trying to get by this 2 car for the 2nd position. He was in 4th at the beginning of the lap, but with a move on the outside of the final set of corners, he's starting to edge ahead of the STS car. Green Flag Motoring Assistance STS has not had a very good start to the season. They sort of struggle to find the speed that their competitors have, but they've had some very good qualifying runs today, and Morgan, despite losing the 2nd position to Hillman, is still in 3rd. As the leaders fly down the back straightaway and into the heavy braking zone, there goes Dragrider, that blue car, right at the bottom of the frame. She has opened up a very sizable lead over the rest of the field, and we are barely a few laps into the race. Jean-Marc Perrault tries to get by Callum Morgan once again, but instead wrecks him going into turn number 3. He gets into the back of the 2 car and spins him into the gravel trap. That is effectively going to end Morgan's chances of scoring any points for STS. Here's another look at it. Perrault, I wonder if that was payback for being shoved off the track by Morgan a couple of laps earlier. Perrault doesn't seem like the type of person who would lose his head over an incident like that, but the accident was very avoidable, and I wonder if he will receive any sort of penalty. Dean Hillman trying to hold off Franco Giovanardi for the 2nd place as Giovanardi pressures him. And further back in the field, Brandon McDonough has to hit the pit lane after having a tire go down. The team is going to send her back out on the track after getting all 4 tires changed, but she's going to lose a lot of ground. And Giovanardi now going for 2nd place on Hillman, trying to get around the outside of him in turns 4 and 5, and he's going to clear the Quick Fit car. Giovanardi won earlier this year at the Croft Circuit, and had he not been wrecked by his teammate Jean-Marc Perrault at Spa, probably would have had top 5 finishes in every race this year. Running in 5th is Aaron Collinson in the Snowdrift car. He's trying to hold off a VM Engineering driver himself, as Vittorio Amati runs right behind him in 6th. Matthias Schler runs in 7th for STS, and in 8th is Becky Rodag in the 87 car. 8th place is significant in this series in that it is the final position that awards points. So it's a very good day for Macintosh Motorsport and Road Dogg despite the troubles that her teammate Driessen faced in the start. James Burnley and Yuji Hirate battle for the 9th position right behind her. Further down the order, Ross Curry is trying to get by another Team Quick-Fit car, the 25 of Carl Andreasen. I believe there's 4 Quick-Fit cars in the race today. Curry moves into the 13th position. Callum Morgan runs right behind them and is multiple laps down. He just recently rejoined the race. On board the front bumper now of Aaron Collinson through the heavy turn 9 braking zone, and Vittorio Amati finally gets around him with a move to the right side, and we now get a nice shot of Amati's car off the front bumper of the 10 as he tries to chase it back down. And as all this is going on, Victoria Drackrider is absolutely running away from the rest of the field. She continues to open up her lead on Giovinardi with each and every lap, and is over 10 seconds ahead of him at this point. Giovinardi is nowhere in the frame as Drackrider continues her very impressive run. There goes the 5 car at the bottom of this shot as you see Giovinardi only just reaching the end of the back straightaway. He's got a lot of ground to make up on the 5, and as I just mentioned, she is pulling away. Franz Kimmelig is running in the 17th position, very far outside the top 10, which is rather a surprise considering that he won the last time the series was in action at Silverstone. In fact, he had to defeat Victoria Drackrider, who was currently dominating the race here today, in order to obtain that victory. Ross Curry, Kemmeleg's teammate, is currently working his way through the field and towards the front. So, just a very poor showing from the 91 so far today. Second place, Franco Giovinardi kicks off green flag pit stops, and the rest of the leaders follow suit behind him. There's Perot and Amati leaving the pits. Positions 8 through 12 running very close together now. Road Dogg leads the 4 cars behind her in. And as the leader, Victoria Drackrider tries to pit, she overshoots the pit entrance and nearly wrecks herself. That was a very close call and probably gave Scuderia Modena quite a scare. Here she is, here is her onboard. She tries to get by the 78 of Datsakorn Sripan, trying to get into the pits as well, and either misjudges the entrance or gets distracted by the 78, but fortunately no harm is done. On the way out of the pits, however, she once again comes across the 78, and she runs a little too wide and grazes the tire walls on the outside of turn 9. That's going to cost her a lot of time, and perhaps it inflicted a bit of damage on her car. Ripan never made contact with Drackrider, but you would have thought he'd given her a bit more space on pit out, seeing as she is the leader. The 75 of Sofia Anastasia and the 69 of Brendan Atzmi lose multiple laps in the pits as they get unknown repairs made to their cars. The 05 of Dean Hillman lost many positions in the pits, but to the benefit of his teammate James Burnley, the 50 car is going to move into the points with the spot gained from the 05. Jean-Marc Perot continues to run at the 3rd position, but he is under attack from his teammate Vittorio Amati, who is all over the back bumper of the 3 car. And Victoria Drackrider has caught back up to the 78 of Datsakorn Sripan. Probably not very happy with him, even though it wasn't really Sripan's fault that she made contact with the wall. He wasn't exactly being a very gracious lap car, and he isn't right now either, as he holds up the 5 car, making efforts to stay ahead of her and keep her behind him. I have no idea why he would have any incentive to do so, and even as they head down the aerodrome straight, Sripan won't let the 5 car go. I would imagine that Drackrider is getting a bit frustrated with the 78 car, and understandably so, as we approach the closing stages of the race, and he continues to hold her up. Ross Curry is moving around the outside of the 50 car of James Burnley through turn 12, coming down to the final set of corners. He is now running in a points-paying position, and considering where he started, that's a very impressive feat. Burnley soon afterwards gets passed by Giancarlo Corelli, who has very quietly been climbing the order all throughout the race. Burnley now leading the battle for 10th, with Callum Morgan right in front of him, and he wrecks Morgan again going into turn number 3, and Burnley's off the track with him and into the wall. Callum Morgan, this time while running multiple laps down, gets spun in the same corner in the same fashion for the second time this race. He must be furious, I have no idea why Burnley would have done that. That was either a terrible misjudgment or a great lack of patience. I really don't know. But the 50 car no longer has a shot of a good run, and Callum Morgan is determined to continue on. He unbeaches the car by himself this time and rejoins the race. Morgan probably wants to get this race over with and get out of Nogaro as soon as possible. Jean-Marc Perrault and Vittorio Amati catch up to the lap car of Brandon McDonough, which is going to interrupt their battle for third. Perrault clears her just at the end of the aerodrome straight, but Amati cannot do so until one lap later in the same location. And after having been running right behind the 3 car for the last several laps, Amati is now several seconds behind. And back at the head of the field, Victoria Dragrider has still not been able to find her way around the 78 of Datsa Sripan, and now Franco Giovanardi, who was over 10 seconds behind when she exited the pit lane, is now right on her back bumper. Here he comes to her right side, making a move for the lead with less than 5 laps to go. Dragrider is holding on strong and fends off his first challenge, but he is still right there, and he makes another move on her to the outside of turn number 7. It's not going to work this time either, but Dragrider really shouldn't even be in this position, but between hitting the pit wall and getting held up by the 78, this race is now a battle between Victoria Dragrider and Franco Giovanardi, the independent versus the factory FIAM. Here comes Dragrider to the inside of Sripan at the end of the aerodrome straight, and off the corner she is finally going to put him a lap down, clearing the 78 car, but Sripan is not giving up. He's still fighting back with Dragrider, which again is completely unnecessary and no doubt frustrating Dragrider and Giovanardi as they try and battle for the win. But Dragrider clears him and now takes the white flag. Giovanardi trying to get by Sripan now so he can have a chance to chase down Dragrider, but Sripan is holding him up as well, so at least he's not selectively blocking the leaders. It is a fierce battle for the lower end of the points. Aaron Collinson is still holding on to the 5th position, but Matthias Schleyer is running right behind him. Becky Oroda gets bumped into the grass by Ross Curry. It's very fortunate that that didn't turn into an accident, but Curry's going to move around her on the outside of turn 5, taking the 7th position, and now off of turn 9 he's trying to take the 6th position from Matthias Schleyer. He almost clears the 99, but Schleyer battles back on the left side, and they continue to fight. This battle is coming down to the final corner. Collinson looks like he's safely in 5th now, as Curry moves into 6th, gaining 2 positions in the final lap. It's been a very impressive race for the 01 car, but all eyes are on Victoria Dragrider. Car number 5, after nearly losing the race that she dominated from the start, rounds the final corner and wins the race of Nogaro. Congratulations to Scuderia Modena and Dragrider taking her first victory of the season. Franco Giovanardi gets another podium by finishing in 2nd, and his FIAM Engineering teammate Jean-Marc Perrault holds off another FIAM Engineering car, Vittorio Amati, to finish in 3rd. Amati finishes 4th, Aaron Collinson once again finishes in 5th, and Ross Curry finishes in 6th after starting in the 22nd position. It was a very good day for the 01 team. Matthias Schleyer has a quiet run and brings home points for STS. He finishes in 7th, and Becky Oroda rounds out the points with an 8th place run. Giancarlo Corelli, despite not scoring any points, has a very good day himself, working up to 9th from a 19th place starting position, and Yuji Hirate, the Spa-Francorchamps winner, rounds out the top 10.